Alright, sweet, I got my character here, he looks really good. Let me go ahead and double check all my logic works. Okay, I got this chip, and this opens this one, and then, wait, there's also this other chip that opens up over here. Oh my god.
If you've ever found yourself completely overwhelmed by the logic that you're creating in dreams, say there's too many wires or things get out of hand, you have a bunch of microchips inside others and you're not sure where your bugs are coming from, or you're not sure if the chip's even doing what you want, something called test-driven development can seriously help. This is a concept from software development where you write tests for your software. Only after then can you write the software, and as long as the software passes the test, then you know it's doing what you're looking for. We can use the same concept in dreams to help us with our chips. So let's say we have this idea in our head where we want to create a microchip that can take in a number and we multiply it by 3, and then we return that number but only after 3 seconds. You may think, all right, let me just get out the microchip and do all that stuff, but then if it doesn't work or something's acting weird, you're not entirely sure where the bug could be. Let's say we want to create a test first, and then we'll create the microchip. So in here, I have a node, which is going to be our x value that we're passing to the chip, and an input node, which is going to get the return value from the chip. Here I have some keyframes. This one just turns on this success switch, and this one turns on the fail switch. That way we can monitor whether or not things are working. So the first thing we need to do is generate the number x, and for this I'm just going to use a signal generator, and I'll pass it, or I'll have it pass out a value between 1 and 1,000, and I'll have that constantly passing it out. And in order to just have one number, I'm going to use a signal manipulator. And I picked up this trick from one of Lucid Stew's videos. If you take the output of the signal, you can plug it into the freeze output, and that will output a single number and then hold it. So as you can see here, if we press play, we get 591, it holds it. We can press play again, 755, and it holds it. So that's really helpful. We'll use this and we'll plug that into the X output of the test. Okay? So now in order to make sure that the return value we're getting from our chip passes these conditions, first we need to take this number that we passed to the chip and multiply it by 3. And then we need to get out another calculator to test for equality. So we'll pass this in there, and we'll pass the output of the multiplication into this. And so this will check whether or not the number is equal to the number we're sending it times 3. And then the other condition is that we don't get the value until after exactly 3 seconds. So we'll get a timer out. And I'll put this here, and I'll set this to 3 seconds. And one thing that the timer has, which is nice, is this pulse, which it only sends a very brief signal as soon as the timer is done. We can use that in conjunction with our equality operator to make sure that the number we're getting is equal to what we expect right when the timer is complete. And if that's the case, we can turn on this success switch. Now we also need to check for failures. One failure that could occur is the timer could be done just like here. However, the number we're getting back is not equal to the number we're expecting. And if that's the case, then we failed. One other situation could be maybe we get the correct number back, but it's before the timer's done. The way we can do that is very similar. We'll take this equals and we'll plug this into the B. So the number we're getting back is correct, and then here on this timer there's a signal, which is a constant signal, either a 0 or a 1. So we're plugging that into the NOT gate. So when this is not done, this will be true. So if this is ever true, meaning that the timer's not done and the number we're getting back from the chip is equal to what we're expecting, then that means we got it too soon, and that'd also be a failure case. So this may seem like a lot of work to do ahead of time, but There's a couple nice things here. One is that if we make a chip and it works exactly how we expect, and it passes the test, then we don't have to worry about whether that chip works or not. Another nice thing is by doing this, you kind of gain a better understanding of what your chip is actually going to need to do. Let's go ahead and we'll get this input node and we'll also get the output node. And so here we'll take this input, multiply it by 3, and let's say you want to handle the timing with a timer. And so you'll set this to 3 seconds, and when this is done, you'll send the output, or you'll power on this node, and there you go. So it'll, after 3 seconds, it'll power the node, and that is what will send a signal into this test. So, oops, plug those things in correctly. I'll start time here, and we'll see what happens. The timers are running, and boom, we get a success, which is great. That means, okay, maybe this chip is perfect, right? But another thing that's nice about the test is, say you didn't like this timer, say you needed this value maybe for something else, or you just didn't like the look of it or something. So say instead you used a keyframe, and you use the keyframe to power that on, and normally you'd leave it powered off. And now say you want to send the signal out like that. So you can test again just by pressing play, and it's still plugged in. You can still see it's a success. So that's great. And now if you ever come into this chip and break something, say I accidentally set this to plus instead of multiplication, all you have to do is run the test, and oh, oops, it looks like I broke something. I should probably go back and fix it. And another thing that's really nice is, say you're like, do I need to keep changes? And say you set that to keep changes first, right? And say you weren't really sure. And so you run this, and you see, okay, it's a success, great. Now let's see if it works without keep changes. So then all you have to do is run the test again, and as long as you don't get a failure, then you know that the chip still works exactly how you expect it to. So it's really nice for debugging, because now moving forward, I know exactly what this chip does, and as long as I don't change it, I don't need to worry about it behaving weird. And so if you used these kinds of tests for a bunch of really complicated logic, and each chip that's going into your logic is all tested, then things should work exactly how you expect them to. So I hope this is helpful. If you enjoyed this or didn't enjoy it, please let me know either way. I'd love to receive some feedback on this. And thanks for stopping by. I'll see you guys soon.